guessing you all watched last night's game, and it did not go the way of the Minnesota Vikings, obviously. To start off, I just want to say that although it's disappointing, I don't find my life's hope and my dreams and my faith in the Minnesota Vikings, they're not my life's purpose. I put my faith in God. On my list of life's priorities, the important stuff's real important stuff's up here, God, faith, family, and friends and all that, and then sports is down here. That being said, we're disappointed here in Minnesota. Obviously, when I'm feeling kind of down about stuff like this, I'll make something called a gratitude list, and I'll list everything that I'm happy and thankful for in life, and go through in detail just how truly blessed I am and how thankful I am, and that usually will flip my attitude around and make me gain some more in-depth perspective on just whatever I'm feeling at the time. And for me, I guess personally, this one's disappointing, but it doesn't hurt as bad as some of the ones in the past. 1998, for example, I think was my first real memory of just getting kicked in the gut emotionally by a team that you cared about, you followed all season, and I just wasn't ready for it. I hadn't lived through the 4 Super Bowl losses some of the older Vikings fans have, and they almost expected it. I was like, no, we're going to the Super Bowl this year, and honestly, we should have, even looking back. How can you argue with that? Historically good offense, 15-1 that year. Kicked me in the gut. 09, I felt that one hurt because I felt like we were robbed of that one. I felt like we were cheated of that one. It would have been something if we would have lost fair and square. That one hurt a lot. This one, I guess, doesn't hurt as bad. For me, I'm just kind of cold towards it, I guess, because it's almost like you're expecting disappointment. You're hopeful that it's not going to happen, but you're almost expecting it. You're ready for that punch in the gut now. And it's one thing if you can kind of tense up and flex and get ready for someone to punch you in the stomach, versus not seeing it coming at all, not being prepared for it. So I guess this time I was ready for it, so emotions are more detached than they were in previous years. It seems like Vikings, we can just make it to the big game, but we just can't finish. That's kind of been our motto. We can get there, we just can't finish. We're not missing the playoffs year after year after year. We get there, we get to the big games, and we just blow it. And that's kind of becoming our motto. I hope that's not the case, forever, but right now it is, and it gets me thinking, has there ever been a team like this that has gotten to so many big games and then lost? The only other football team that I could think of that might come close is the Bills of the 90s. I know they lost 4 Super Bowls, so they can probably relate to our pain a little bit. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of another team that gets to the game where, okay, this is for all the marbles, and then they just don't show up for whatever reason. And that was the other frustrating thing about yesterday, too. I don't even know who that team was. That was not the team I've been watching all year. It was like they had their heart was gone. It would be one thing if we played, we played our hearts out and we left it all on the field, but that just looked like a ghost of the team that we've been watching all year, and I don't get it. And cliche to say, but how big is home field advantage throughout the playoffs? The 2 number 1 teams are facing off in the Super Bowl. I knew home field was a big advantage, but I guess this year it's just hit me exactly how big it is. So, am I going to stop being a Vikings fan? No. Watching football is still a favorite pastime of mine. I'm still going to root for them. You don't just give up because you have some bad years. And, in the back of our minds, all us Vikings fans are hoping that, all these years of pain and disappointment are going to pay off someday with a Super Bowl win. That's really all we would ask of the Vikings, just one Super Bowl in our lifetime. Win one. I think that's what we want. I know that's what everyone wants, but it would just erase a lot of the years of misery. So obviously, we'll get over this one. We'll shake this one off. I have mixed feelings about this team because the trajectory of this team is going upwards. For the 4 years that Mike Zimmer's been our head coach, we've won the division twice. 13-3. This was our best year record-wise. And the future looks bright. But then again, nothing's ever guaranteed. We know that better than anybody. There's no guarantee you're going to get back anytime soon. The league is so different from year to year, and you can't count on next year. You never can. While I'm optimistic for the future, there's a lot of questions going forward. And also, like, even if you do have the best roster in football, even if you've got the number one defense, had a great year, whatever, you got to show up for the game. You got to show up for the big game. This is not the one to lay an egg. I hope we learned something from this going forward. Still a fan. Still not going anywhere. Still love Minnesota. still support my Vikes. Congratulations to the Patriots and Eagles for making it to the Super Bowl this year. And we'll be back.